Hey guys, I just got kicked out of my office, so hopefully the lighting in here is okay. So I just wanted to add a couple more comments about the degree of the polynomial. Again, what I told you before about polynomials with a single variable is what we're going to be dealing with most of the time, but there are occasions where you'll see polynomials, either monomials or binomials, whatever, that have more than one variable. Really, at this point in your mathematical career, they just want to make sure you have a deeper understanding of degree, not because we're actually going to solve anything or graph anything or do anything with polynomials that have more than one variable. That would be later, much later in your mathematical career. So at this point, we're just going to talk about the degree of a polynomial that has many variables or multiple variables, just so that you understand, even to a deeper degree, what, no pun intended, what degree means. So if you have two variables here, like let's say we have 3x squared y to the fifth, there are two different variables with two different exponents. And so in order to say the degree, you might say, well, do we pick the higher one? Would we pick 5? Would we pick the x, since that's the variable that we use more often? The answer is no. What we do is we take and we add the exponents together to get the degree of the polynomial. So this one, and we're just going to talk about terms right now. We'll talk about polynomials in just a second. So this one would have a degree of 7, because 2 plus 5 is 7. And then in this polynomial right here, or this monomial, this single term, we would add the 8 and the 4, and we would get a degree of 12. All right, so if we had a polynomial that had many variables in it, so multiple terms here, so let's say we had 3x squared y to the fifth plus 2x to the eighth y to the fourth minus 3x squared y squared. We would go through, and to decide the degree of the polynomial when there's many terms here, we would say the degree of each term. So here the degree of this term is 7, the degree of this term is 12, the degree of this term is 4, so the degree of this whole polynomial would be 12. All right, it's just the highest of the terms that are listed. So I have looked to see how you would order them, just as we talked before about how you would order polynomials. Let's see these right here, where we would base it on, we would put them in order from highest to lowest, so in descending order. I have not found anything to confirm that that's the case when you have multivariables, but I seem to remember that that's true. So if we were to order this in a way that was similar to that, we would rewrite it as 2x to the eighth y to the fourth plus 3x squared y to the fifth minus 3x squared y squared. So we would just take these terms and rewrite them so that we went from highest all the way down to lowest. Here's another question that you might be having, which I also had and looked up and couldn't find anything on. Suppose that instead of it being 2x to the eighth y to the fourth plus 3x squared y to the fifth plus, minus, let's say it was minus 3x to the 10th y to the second. What would we do in the case where we have two terms, this first one and this last one, that both have a degree of 12? Well, what I would say is, first of all, I would not put this term in the middle. Now that that has a term of a degree of 7, I would boot that to the back. So 2x to the eighth y to the fourth minus 3x to the 10th y to the second plus 3x squared y to the fifth. So for sure, I would say that. In terms of which one of these comes first, I honestly have no idea what the answer is. I looked in many places and couldn't find that. Again, it's so unlikely that we will see something like that, but just in case you came across, in case you thought of that question and you wondered what we would do, I would definitely group them together and any lower ones later. But in terms of which one should go first, I don't know. If we were to ask about the leading coefficient, again, in this case, up here, where we had a 7, 12, and a 4. We rearranged them so that the 12 came first, then the 7, and then the 4. I would say the leading coefficient of this polynomial would be 2. That really poses an interesting question here, because when we have two terms of the same degree, and we don't know which one to put first, I really don't know. So again, I'm just including this in case this was a thought in your mind. How would you do it if two terms had the same degree? I'm just saying, I don't know. It's a really good question. So if you feel like exploring more, you could probably Google things like how to order terms in a polynomial with many variables, or how to arrange terms by degree in a polynomial with many variables. But I could not find the answer to that question. So again, really the big thing here is if we have many variables, we add the exponents to find the degree of the term, and then we would arrange them from highest degree term to lowest degree term. Okay, that is it. I'll see you in class. Bye.